I am so excited about today's guest, you guys. I've been wanting him to come on the show for so long. He's one of my all-time favorite authors because he's written one of my personal favorite books, The Perfect Day Formula. Craig Ballantyne. He's also a Wall Street Journal bestseller for his book Unstoppable, and he just wrote another book called The Perfect Week Formula, which I'm super excited to read. I have not read that yet, and you guys, I'm just freaking stoked to have him on the podcast and for you guys to meet him if you haven't already read his work or seen him on social media. He is such a powerful human. He's coaching some of today's leading experts and industry leaders, and in this episode, we are talking about time mastery, how to protect and optimize your time so that you have more of it. And it also goes hand in hand with really overcoming anxiety and that feeling of being too busy and overwhelmed and not having enough time. Also, I just want to say, guys, make sure that you listen until the end of the episode, because after I get off with Craig, I recorded an add-on that I know will be super valuable for you guys. And I'm really excited for you to listen to it and hear your thoughts on it and just hear from you guys, because I felt called to do that. I've never done that before. Okay, I've never done that, recorded a separate add-on to put at the end of the podcast when I was done interviewing the guest. So I did that for you this time. I'm excited for you guys to let me know how that was or if you liked that. And without further ado, I'm going to stop blabbing. Let's dive into the interview. I am just going to dive in because I want to utilize your time wisely, and I'm super excited for this.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, because like I told you, we have a mutual friend, Shanda Sumter.
Shanda's the best. Shanda the panda.
Yeah, she's awesome. So that's cool. And then secondly, as I told you, I've read your Perfect Day Formula book countless times myself, and it's actually a required reading for my mastermind group.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, I love it. And before this, I pulled my audience actually because I couldn't decide on the topic I wanted to talk to you about, because I also know you're an expert at overcoming anxiety.
Yeah.
So, but I wanted to focus in. So I asked them what they wanted to hear, which was either how to control, protect, optimize your time so you have more of it, or how to overcome anxiety so you can feel more peace, ease, flow in everything you do. And they wanted to know more about how to protect and optimize our time.
Perfect.
So for those of you listening, if you ever say, I'm too busy, if you ever feel like you don't have enough time to work out, to eat healthy, to go on trips, to read books, to do your nails, if you ever feel like there isn't enough time to do what you want to do, then my friend, this is the episode for you. And I have the perfect guest today for you to learn from, Mr. Craig Ballantyne. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Oh, this is going to be a lot of fun. Thank you.
And I'll tell you right now, those of you listening, I can tell you, it's not that you don't have enough time. It's that you haven't learned how to optimize it. And I have a pro here that you're going to learn from. So Craig, why don't you start us off? I would love to hear from you what your thoughts are on that right there, what I just said about how people say that phrase, I'm too busy, I don't have enough time.
Yeah, a lot of people say a similar phrase. They say, I'm going to find time for something, or I can't find time for something. And that's the problem, is you can't find time. It's not like it's under the bed with your ab rocker collecting dust. No, we only make time. We make time for what matters. And so you used a little list there, like going to the grocery store, getting your work done, or getting your nails done, or eating healthy, or whatever it was. And we can get exactly what we want done when we make time for it. And we only make time for what matters. So before we even start to schedule in our day and do all that fun stuff, we need to figure out, okay, what really matters in our business. And we were talking about our friend Shanda. Shanda is a master at this because she's built a great business by making time for what matters. But more importantly, is she's built a great relationship with her son, Zach, by making time for him. And so when her and I first met, she was kind of struggling, and she lets me talk about this in my new book, Perfect Week Formula. I got to get you a copy of that. She was talking about how she would go and be thinking about work while playing with Zach on the beach, and it really bothered her. And so we just made time for Zach. It's all going to be focused, present, no distractions. And when you do that, you can actually have more connection, more presence with your family, just like if you're more focused during your work and you're matching your mental capacity with the task that is best suited for your energy levels at that time, you can triple your productivity. So for example, if everybody just figures out when they are in the flow over the course of the day, when they are most productive, and then they put their hardest activity in that time, you'll be able to get so much more done because you are just being so self-aware of it.
How did you find that out? How do you figure out when you're most productive?
I did a little bit of time journaling. I also would find myself when I found myself really frustrated with, I just wish I had more time to do this right now. That was like an aha moment. So I was a struggling personal trainer for a long time, and I was building my online business at the same time, and I'd be writing early in the morning, which is when, you know, most trainers have their clients. I'd be like, if I could just have another 20 or 30 minutes, I have my greatest ideas. I'm really cranking this stuff out. And that was like, eventually, after like hitting my head against the wall for a long time, wondering why I wasn't being more successful, I was like, okay, I need to ruthlessly protect this time. And so I was willing to tighten my belt a little bit more, pass on a few clients to other trainers. I said, this is going to be a great fit. They're really good for you, to open up what I call magic time, more time in my magic time when I'm 3 times more creative, productive, and energetic, so that I was able to do work now that would make me money later. And it's very tempting to continue to make money now and push off, like say, you know, I'll still try and find time for this thing, but you know, I got to go and make the money and whatever, you know, maybe if somebody has a job and is building their business on the side. Listen, if you can cut back, tighten that belt, you'll get further ahead if you're able to sacrifice a little now and open up your magic time for whatever it is that matters, whether it is an actual sales call, or whether it's creating content, or whether it's writing a book or creating a course. I know it's easy for me to say because I've done it and gotten through it, and difficult for you to you know, put into action. But trust me on this, a little bit of sacrifice now will pay off massively in the future.
I totally agree with that. And I know I've heard you talk about, you know, ways to support yourself in making sure that you're carving out this magic time for yourself. And I've heard you talk about the paradox of freedom and the paradox of structure.
Yeah.
And I love it. So I would love for you, because I feel like it ties in perfectly, because you really do. A lot of people think structure, oh no freedom. And I know you have a completely different view on that. So
well, here's a great example. Like, you know, you've heard of the play Hamilton. You know, it's like the greatest play, one of the greatest plays that was ever created. And do you think they're making up the lines every time they go out on stage? You think like, you know what, tonight, I'm going to try this punchline in the joke. No, it is so structured. It has been scripted. It has been rehearsed. It is the same play every single night. And it's through that it allows it to be so successful, and allows them to go on tour around the world, allows them to make a lot of money and to get new projects. So we need to have that same approach. And it's the same approach to our sales calls. It's the same approach to our mornings, where we have a really dialed in morning routine that allows us to dominate our day so we can have more freedom at night. And what I talk about in my book, The Perfect Day Formula, that you've read, you control what you can, which is your mornings. You cope with the chaos of the afternoon by being prepared for knowing that things are going to go off track and being able to get back on track, so that you can concentrate on what counts in the evening, which is often family time or your health or your hobbies or whatever it is, relaxation time. And it's just be really disciplined early so that you can be really relaxed and present later on. So that's one of the big messages I wanted to get, because for me, when I was younger, when I suffered from that paradox of freedom, I was able to go from being that broke, struggling personal trainer to having the breakthrough in my online business, which then meant I could work whenever I wanted, as long as I wanted. I could go out whenever I wanted. And I tried to do so much stuff. I had that paradox of freedom. It was like a kid in a candy store. And, you know, the kid's not just going to eat the right amount of candy. And I didn't have the right amount of structure and boundaries in place. And so I actually ended up with anxiety attacks because I was working too much and going out too much and not recovering. So when I put in boundaries and cutoffs for the end of the day, when I put in rules about not hitting the snooze button, when I put in like, I'm going to get up a tiny bit earlier so that I can get into my magic time, that's when everything changed for me and my life just became so much better. So I was more successful, not just on the financial side, but holistically.
You know what? I'm so happy. Okay, this makes me so happy. My heart's singing. So it's so crazy that Shanda, our mutual friend, when she came on, guess what her episode was on? It was on boundaries,
Oh,
creating
cool.
boundaries, which I'm sure a lot of it was maybe learned from you, because she talks a lot like about what you speak about, which is really having these, guidelines, these rules that set you up for success, and that you can be accountable to. And I'm really excited for our listeners right now who struggle with, maintaining momentum, who struggle with, getting in what they need, what they want to get in each day, to create some rules, some boundaries to support you in that. And I'd love to know for you, how do you go about creating those boundaries? What does that look like? How would someone listening right now start to create those for themselves?
Yeah, so I'll explain that in a second, but what I want everyone to understand is that if you think about the most successful women, the most impactful women in the world, Oprah's going to come to mind, and Oprah has a lot of boundaries, right? Now, would Oprah love to sit there and answer every email that comes into her magazine, her TV show, all of that stuff? Of course, she wants to help as many people as possible. But she can only help as many people as possible by saying no to a lot of things so that she can go on and, I use this little phrase, become the Oprah of her business. And we need to become the Oprah of our businesses, which means we need to learn how to delegate soon. We need to learn how to have those boundaries and cutoffs as quickly as possible, saying no to certain things. For example, for me in my business, I do a lot of podcasts. There are certain podcasts that I say no to. I didn't say no to you, not only because you're a friend with Shanda, but also because this is an audience that I want to talk to. It has the reach that hits a certain criteria for me. I have all of those parameters in place. And I know it sounds kind of ruthless, but you have to be ruthless with your time. So how do you figure out what matters? Well, it starts by going way back, well, actually way up to a really high strategic level. And you need to think, what do you want your life to look like? What really matters in your life? And I talk about creating the vision for your life and knowing the values in your life, because your values and your vision drive every decision. Your values and your vision drive every decision. If you want to be healthy and live a long life and be around for your grandkids' college graduation, you want to be able to, enjoy that life pain-free. Well, that's going to dictate what you're going to eat as you listen to this podcast, or what you're going to have for dinner. Your long-term values and vision must drive every decision. Therefore, if you want to be a super mom who has a business but is present for their kids, and their kids don't ever look at them and say, you're on your phone too much when you're around me, that's going to drive every decision. That's going to drive you saying no to a lot of things over the course of the day so that you can focus on the thing that is the main needle mover in your business. It's going to say no to you being on your phone after a certain time. Like what I do is I tell my world, I tell social media, I tell my email list, I tell my coaching clients that I'll do certain things. Like I shut off my phone at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time every night, airplane mode. And I'll put that in social media so that people catch me on social media. They're like, hey, you're being a hypocrite here, and nobody wants to feel like a hypocrite. So when I have my boundaries, not only do I know them myself, I get social support and accountability from the world for sticking to them. And that's actually, believe it or not, that's how I quit swearing nearly 10 years ago. So I don't swear out publicly, I don't swear on stage, I don't swear in podcasts, I don't swear in most of my friends and social environments. I might swear at home once in a while, but that's about it. And I was able to quit that by telling my email list of 150,000 people that I had back when I was running a fitness business that I was quitting swearing, and that public accountability helped me quit swearing in 4 days. And now when people swear around me, they actually apologize to me, because I think I even put it in the perfect day form of the book.
Yeah, I've heard that. That's powerful. Public accountability, you guys, powerful. I know it sounds scary. My friend, that's how he wrote his book.
Yeah,
he literally
absolutely.
posted on his Twitter feed and said, I'm going to have my book written by this day. And he put in saying if he didn't have it written by that date, he owes everyone who responded to that $20.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I've
win.
had friends find the love of their life by doing something, by saying so my friend Xander Fryer, he came to one of my coaching things, and I was like, he said he wanted to find the love of his life. And then for a couple of months, he wasn't doing anything. He actually lives like just down the road from Shanda. And after a couple of months, he wasn't doing anything. So I called him out on it, and he goes, what should I do? I said, get public accountability. So he went to his Facebook group of 2,000 people and said, I'm looking for love. And if I don't meet a great girl by the end of this year, this was in like September, he's really pushing it, right? If I don't meet a great girl by the end of the year, I'm going to do whatever you guys tell me to do. And some of them were like, oh, you're going to run down like 5th Street in San Diego naked or whatever. But the thing is, when he said that, the cool thing is that there's a lot of good people out there who want to support you. So we got a lot of messages from people like, oh, I want you to meet my niece or my friend or whatever. And none of that worked out until some girl from Australia sent him a message like 2 weeks later and said, I know this is weird, but I'm in your Facebook group, and I like your energy. And sure enough, they had some Zoom dates, and this is even like way back before COVID. And they had Zoom dates, and then she flew to America, and it was one of those, dates that turned into the 4-day date. And, it's history. They've got married like 18 months later. So public accountability can change your life.
Wow. Yeah. Declaring it in and of itself. That's powerful.
Yeah, it really
Thank you
is.
for that. And I want to say that part that you had, and I just want to add to it. Shanda has boundaries like this. I'm going to share one of mine. I only take calls on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Oh, cool.
So that on the other days I am in my creative flow, and I write copy. I'm a creator, so I need that time to create. So
that's actually something I'm teaching a lot of recently is singularity days. And there's a guy named Dan Sullivan who has a program called Strategic Coach, and he has something similar. He has free days, buffer days, and focus days. I'm not exactly like that, but what I teach my clients is similar to what you do, and it's brilliant. Because if you're doing a call, then writing copy, and then it's like, I got another call, you're not going to get nearly as much done as call day and creation day. And so I have clients in the real estate world. It's like, okay, you got real estate transaction days are Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to like be on the phone and do deals. Monday is all administration, and Friday showings and Saturday showings. And it's just like, okay, this worked so much better than trying to do a little bit of administration a couple days a week. And it's just getting that singularity in there really, really, really helps. Even if you break it up into half days. Just one more thing I'll add on that. When I was going from full-time personal trainer to online business, I just started getting rid of half days as quickly as I could, because I knew that 4 hours working on my online business in a row was significantly better than 1 hour for 4 days. And it is absolutely a game changer for people. So anybody listening that is in the side hustle world, you need to get those blocks of time. It will be magic for you.
Yeah, time blocking. And it's because that gets you into flow state. You're able to really get into flow state. Sometimes it may take a while to get there. So if you're only giving yourself 30 minutes or an hour, you get
knocked out of it. Even if you got into it, even if you get into it fast, then the transition time is a killer. It's like what kills people in triathlons, and it's what kills people in work, and it's what kills people in their home life is the transition time and not managing that stuff effectively and having that separation. One of the things I'm a big believer in is separation of work and home life as much as possible. I have my clients do a little ritual when they go home at night. If they work in an office or work at the gym or whatever, they go home at night and their kids meet them at the door and they say, okay, time to put daddy's phone in the phone bed. And they actually do this, and they put the phone away and they spend 30 quality minutes with their kids. And then the kids are actually like, okay, I'm done with you. Peace out. I'm going to go play. And you're like, oh, instead of me being half present, half not present for 2 hours, I can be fully present for 20 or 30 minutes. And I can either go back to that or I can go into some other activity. And it's just so much more peaceful for everybody.
Wow. I love that. That is powerful. Yeah. I love that so much. Well, Craig, I know I want to be respectful of your time because I know you have 20 minutes and we got a little bit of a late start. Is there one final nugget that you feel called to share that maybe you didn't get a chance to dive into?
Yeah. So one thing is that obviously we can get paralyzed the amount of information that is out there. And so in one of my other books, I have this little phrase that's kind of like the control what you can phrase, but it's action beats anxiety, motion beats meditation, and work beats worry. So I'm not like dismissing meditation. I do it daily, but what I mean is if you're sitting there right now and you're collecting all this information, but you're still struggling, whether it's in a relationship or your health or your business, if you just sit there and worry about it, it's only going to get worse. But if you take action, any action, moving forward ahead a little bit, reaching out, making a connection, asking for help, or simply going out and helping somebody else, you'll start to feel better, and that will get the momentum going and give you the motivation to come back and keep on working on it. So if everything else is just you feel stuck, nothing moves you ahead more than action, motion, and work.
That's so powerful. Thank you for sharing that. It's beautiful. And one final thing, if I may add, and I know you've said this before, so I'm going to say it on behalf of both of us because I'm a big stand for this, is those of you listening, you're worthy. You're worthy. Okay. So the power of no, what Craig was talking about earlier, creating these boundaries, all these things, it's because you are worthy of living the life you want, of doing the things that you want to do. So I also wanted to just add that last piece because it came to me earlier and I forgot. And so it just came to me now. So
yeah, it is. I actually kind of really love talking to female audiences because I get to be this like evil guy who comes along and says, just say no to things. And it gives you that permission. Like you don't, I would always go on Shanda's Coffee with Shanda and say, listen, you don't have to be the person who makes every meal, who cleans every room, who does every grocery run. The fact is there's people and services out there these days who will do this for you at a very low rate. And you know, if you're doing all of those things because of your mother-in-law and what she might say, listen, we're living in different times now, and you weren't put here to clean a bedroom. You were put here to change people's lives in whatever business you're in. And you know what? Oprah's not cleaning every room in all of her houses. She's out there making a huge impact. She's okay with it, and you got to be okay with it too.
Amen. Love it. Oh, yes. I love that we're finishing off with that.
Good.
Thank you, Craig. You're awesome. I knew that we would vibe. I'm super excited that I got to have you on the show. Those of you listening, go follow Craig. I'll have all of his stuff in the show notes for you. I can't wait for you to get to know him if you don't already. Check out his books. They're freaking awesome. And I'm excited to read your next one, The Perfect Week Formula. Yay. Great. Thank you so much for coming on, Craig.
No problem.
Hey guys, so I wanted to just add here, so this is a separate recording that I did after the podcast with Craig, and I just want to say, write down what is important to you. Like truly, write down your values, family, marriage, what's important to you, integrity, right? Write down all of your values. Make a list of at least 5 to 6 values of yours. And then after you're done writing your values, as Craig said, your values and your vision dictate all of your decisions. I don't know if I got that exactly correctly, but that's what he said during the podcast. I love that. And I want you guys to create this for yourselves, which is why I'm doing this kind of add-on after the episode. So I want you to write down your values, your top values, your core values, and then I want you to really sit and think about your vision for your life. I want you to think 5 years out, okay? Like really think not just today. I want you to think a year, 3 years, 5 years out, maybe even 10 years out. What do you want to create? Like, what does your life look like? Are you traveling? Are you in a relationship? Are you married? Are you freaking healthy and fit as a whistle? Like, fit as a whistle. Is that even right? Fit as a fiddle. Oh my goodness gracious. What are you guys going to do with me? Anyways, so just get really clear on your vision, all right? So that could be like a 2, 3, even like 6-page journal entry, whatever you want it to be. So I want you to write that out. And then after you have that written, then you can create your boundaries, your rules, which Craig and I spoke about before, which for me, one of my rules that I shared, right, was that I don't take calls on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I only take calls on Tuesday, Thursdays. There's a reason for that for me, which is in alignment with my vision and values. I also have a rule that I do not look at or touch my phone until I'm done meditating and praying in the morning. That is a hard rule. I do not cross that rule. And I have other rules as well. So I know my boyfriend Gerard, he has a great rule that I'm starting to adopt where we don't look at our phones before bedtime, so we don't look at our phones before bedtime in bed. I would love to even have that be past a certain time. I know sometimes it's difficult because oh, I just thought of a solution, because I was going to say sometimes you go to sleep different times, so the time can vary. I have a solution to that. If you like that rule, you could do no phone 1 hour before bedtime. So making sure that you're not, it's really harmful, guys, to be falling asleep, like looking on social media, even responding to emails. It's just not good for us to do that. And there's tons of studies that you can refer to that will tell you why that's unhealthy. So anyways, this is just a little add-on I wanted to throw onto the end of this podcast for you guys so that you could really take something from this and create. I want you guys in action, right? Like, you can't change your life just by listening, sitting, reading, or even writing. You've got to create, you got to do, you got to get in practice, you got to be in action, as Craig said. So this is an action I'm giving you. This is the homework from the podcast, if you will. Write out your values, write out your vision, and then come up with, maybe I'm going to ask that you come up with 4 rules, okay? 4 rules for yourself to support you. And for those overachievers listening right now, make a public declaration. If you're serious about this and you really want to optimize your time, you really want to get more out of your life, after you write your vision, after you write your values, and you come up with your 4 rules or boundaries, I want you to share them on social media, and I want you to tag me and Craig Ballantyne, his handle is in the show notes, so that we can see it and everyone else that follows you can see it, and you have that public accountability, okay? We'll probably even repost it to our stories. I love seeing you guys in action, creating and doing this stuff, and really just learning how to be your highest and best self. This is part of the practice. So I'm giving you guys something right here, a tool that you can use. Use it, all right? I love you. You're amazing. You're powerful. Don't you forget it. And I'll see you on the next episode.